Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Oyster Bay East Norwich Central School District Board of Education meeting. If we can all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. I would now like to turn over to Dr. Yanni for the superintendent's report, please.
Thank you, Ms. Castro-Giovanni, and good evening, everybody. Just want to say happy birthday to Giovanna. It was on Saturday, so happy birthday. You did the birthday, you did the musical, and you did a wonderful job. So what a day to celebrate. We had a great time. I'm sure you're going to talk about the wonderful time that you had, but very, very proud of all the cast, the students, the costumes, everything was wonderful. And I reminded my wife again and again that there is no need to go to a Broadway show because we can just come over here. So I'll pass it to you for the report.
Thank you, Dr. Yanni. Good evening, everyone. This March is full of events that I am ecstatic to report on. First, our robotics team, the Baybots, competed at the Long Island Robotics Championship on March 1st. They did extremely well, and we congratulate them for their achievements. Additionally, parent-teacher conferences occurred last week. Thank you to the students and staff that helped run the event smoothly. Last Friday, Oyster Bay High School held a staff volleyball spike-off. We had a wonderful turnout of supportive students, and thank you to all who came to support our staff. Over the weekend, Oyster Bay High School proudly presented its spring musical, Once Upon a Mattress. It was an absolutely unforgettable experience, and I commemorate the cast, pit, and crew for all of their hard efforts into making such a wonderful production. Playing in the pit band of this musical will be a memory that I never forget. As for current and upcoming events, the high school has been celebrating World Language Month. Bay News Now has been recognizing languages each morning, and classes have been doing related activities to celebrate this month. Finally, I am excited to announce that our annual International Night will be hosted on March 26th. International Night is hosted by the International Club and World Language Honor Society as an annual celebration of the diversity of the Oyster Bay East Norwich School District. This year, the celebration will be on Thursday, March 26th from 5 to 6:30 p.m. and will feature an international buffet, crafts and coloring station, cultural music and dance, and an art display from our youngest OBEN members from Roosevelt and Vernon. We hope that you can make it. This is all the news I have to share with you tonight. Have a wonderful evening, everyone.
Joanna, thank you for your report, and I also loved the volleyball game that we had on Friday, and I want to thank the senior advisors, Victoria Wink and Nick Sally, for organizing this event, and for all the staff, administrators, teachers that participated. The best part for me was to see that everybody, there was so much energy in that gymnasium, and by bringing all the schools together, I think Victoria and Nick helped us remind one thing, that we are one student body, one school, one community, and that was great to see that entire community, parents and students, everybody together. So wonderful, great job. On Friday, February 27th, two teams from Oyster Bay High School competed in the 14-hour M3 Challenge, applying advanced mathematics modeling and data analysis to investigate the financial impact of gambling. Students developed complex models to estimate disposable income and potential losses, ultimately submitting evidence-based recommendation on gambling risks. I want to congratulate the seniors. We had Riley Bear, Mosey Bradley, Andrew Jeanette, Julia Milos, and Leah McConville. And the juniors were Anna Luz Ferrer, Elisa Kim, Kayla Miley, Sofia Pavlovich, and Isabella Rizzuto. Both teams successfully completed this rigorous challenge, 14 hours of mathematics, so quite impressive, and now they're eligible for college scholarship recognition. So proud of them. Directly in line with the Board of Education goals, the district supporting this major goals of attending colleges. We had post-secondary planning, and the counseling department, together with SEPTA, proudly hosted a virtual panel on transitional opportunities. Families gained valuable insight into specialized programs at Adelphi, Malloy, and other top institutions. So it was a wonderful evening, and I want to thank Dr. Dianca, Ms. Abruzzo, and SEPTA, obviously, for coordinating this event, which was great. A group of 15 Oyster Bay East Norwich students were selected to participate in the Art Supervisors Association All-County Art Exhibition held on Sunday, March 1st at Clark High School. Students were nominated by their art teachers and then selected by ASAA in recognition of their exceptional skills. And I was there with Ms. Gia Pack and the art teacher, Mr. Boris, and Riley Bear received a scholarship, and it was nice to see her on the stage getting recognized for this achievement. Before I bring to the microphone Ms. McEntee to do the Winter Athletic Awards, I want to congratulate all the athletes and the wonderful work that they did during the winter season. It was fun to watch the game and participate in all the events. So, Ms. McEntee.
Thank you, and thank you to the Board of Education and Central Administration for having me here tonight to celebrate and honor the winter student athletes and present the physical education and health and athletics update. I'd like to begin with our winter student athlete celebration. I'd like to acknowledge all the winter teams and their coaches on their impressive seasons, which resulted in 8 out of our 10 varsity teams being awarded postseason qualification and playoff bids. The varsity wrestling team, varsity boys basketball, varsity girls basketball all qualified for the semifinal rounds. All 3 teams also had Newsday top athletes to watch, including Grace Samendolski, Chase Lordy, and although injured this season, Colting Smysing was amongst the top athletes to watch this winter. The varsity wrestling team also competed in the Division II individual county tournaments, where Chris Barbera was named the 165-pound county champion. James Panetta and John Uola were named true second in their weight class, and all 3 attended the New York State Wrestling Individual Championship on February 27th and 28th and competed in the quarterfinal rounds. The boys and girls winter indoor track and field team had an incredible performances during the postseason, including the girls team finishing second in the conference championship meet. Zach Green also qualified for the New York State indoor track and fields in the 1600 meter. That was on March 7th, where he ran his personal best and broke his own school record in the 1600 meter race. Girls and boys fencing had an outstanding presence at the individual county tournament that was hosted here in Oyster Bay Gymnasium, where Gabby Sherlock placed second in women's foil. Gabby Sherlock and Riley Bear were also Newsday's top female fencers to watch this year. Boys bowling had a successful season, but unfortunately fell short of a playoff bid this past winter. Oyster Bay had their first boys swimmer, Max Cheroff, who competed in the Northern Region swim team, and we are excited to see that program expand in the future. Varsity cheerleading hit another major milestone this season as they advanced to the UCA semifinals for the second consecutive year in a row. Additionally, all 10 of our varsity teams were named Scholar Athlete teams, an impressive accomplishment which speaks volumes to their dedication of their studies as well as their athletic programs. Congratulations to all the teams and their coaches on an outstanding winter season. At this time, I'd like to present our student athletes who are being honored at the county and state level this winter. Athletes, when I call your name, please come up to the stage to receive your certificate and stay on stage for a group photo at the end. Girls basketball, Mia Bencal, All-County Scholar Athlete. Grace Samondolsky, All-Class. You can go that way. Elise Kim, All Conference. Madeline Bencal, All Conference. Boys basketball, Chase Lordy, All County. Nicholas Carsonis, All Conference. Girls fencing, Gabby Sherlock, All Long Island, All County. Girls winter track and fields, Liana Antamorano, All County. Kayla Miley, All County. Annalise Bacallis, All County. Ava Chekovic, All County. Anne Marie Cochran, All County. Nina Ballone, All County, all Conference Champion, All Conference. Nicolette Lewis, All County, Conference Champion, All Conference. Olivia Lewis, All County, Conference Champion, All Conference. Savannah Fordage, All County, All Conference. Jocelyn Shadler, All County, All Conference Champion, All Conference. Hannah Vidro, All County, All Conference. Emmeline Zeller, All Conference. Competitive cheerleading, Lauren Emerson, All County. Julia DeAngelis, Scholar Athlete. Giovanna Sacco, All Class. Caitlin Marte, Coaches Award. Boys Winter Track and Fields, Alex Arnidos, All County. Vladimir Romalis Roblius, All County. Chris Barbera, All County. Alexander Streech, All County. Zachary Green, All County, All Conference. Andrew Jeanette, All Conference. Samuel Brenner, All Conference. Wrestling, Christopher Barbera, All County. James Panetta, All County. Jonathan Uola Castellanos, All County. Tom Vidro, All County. Peter Nicolopoulos, All Conference. Jack Baran, All Conference. Cody Carlson, All Conference. James Mazar, All Conference. Gilberto Velasquez, All Conference. And you want the coaches to come up as well? That's it. Berto, Beto's not here. Do you want the coaches to join that are here? If our coaches can please join us in a team picture up here, we would greatly appreciate it. Nina's here. Okay, because people are going to leave anyway, so it'll be a break. Yeah. They're probably towards the bottom side. I'll give them out to the coaches to give out tomorrow if they're not here. Thank you. Finish up? Okay. In closing, I'd like to thank the Board of Education, Central Administration, and Business Building Administration for all your support. We couldn't run the program successfully without your encouragement, guidance, and support. Thank you to the grounds, facilities, custodial teams, and Booster Club community members for your incredible opportunities you supply our teams. Thank you to Dr. Joseph Canisi, our athletic trainer Nick Kelly, and our building nurses for taking care of our athletes. Thank you, coaches, for always going the extra mile. Your extended efforts do not go unnoticed. Thank you to Ms. Ronaldo, who keeps everything running smoothly. And last and not least, the athletes for an incredible winter season, and I'm very excited to see what they bring in the spring. So thank you for part one. Part two. It's an exciting night for me because not only do I get to present and boast about our incredible winter athletic teams, I also now get the opportunity to showcase the entire physical education, health, and athletic department. At this time, I'd like to switch gears to present the phys ed health and athletic update. This evening's presentation is focusing on three key components and in alignment with the Board of Education goals. These areas These areas include student achievement, finances, and operations and promoting community. First, student achievement. It has been another exciting year so far for the physical education, health, and athletics. I'd like to start with a short recap of the fall and winter accomplishments. So far this year, our sports offerings have included 24 varsity programs, 4 JV programs, and 14 middle school programs. All our fall and winter varsity programs qualified and achieved NISFA Scholar Athlete Team status. Although some of our teams don't report to NISFA, it is important to recognize that all of those teams have also achieved the academic standards set by NISFA. This puts us in line for the School of Excellence Award pending the spring teams. So spring teams, it's time to keep it going strong and keep those grades up high. Of our 19 varsity teams who are eligible for postseason competitions, 15 have qualified for the playoffs, including 1 individual county champion, Chris Barbera. 6 teams have qualified for the semifinal rounds, including the boys varsity soccer team, girls varsity soccer team, girls varsity volleyball, varsity wrestling team, varsity girls basketball, and boys varsity basketball teams. 8 individuals have qualified for New York State Championship tournaments in their respective sports, including members of the boys and girls cross-country team, boys indoor winter track and field team, and the wrestling team. We've also had some impressive academic success and accomplishments so far this year. Lily Moore and CJ Noboa were named Oyster Bay's Outstanding Physical Education Students of the Year, and they were honored at the NASA Zone AFERD ceremony that was held in December. We will also be celebrating the Elementary and Middle School Physical Education Students of the Year in April. Andrew Jeanette was honored as one of News 12 Scholar Athletes, where he received a $1,000 scholarship from Four Leaf Bank, and Joseph Henry was named as Newsday Athlete of the Week as he made Oyster Bay history as the all-time career rushing yard holder, surpassing 3,000 yards this fall. Oyster Bay Student Athlete Leadership Program attended the Section 8 Unity Summit this fall, which focused on sportsmanship, leadership, and civility. This summit was a countywide initiative where students from all Section 8 Nassau County schools participated. Additionally, Griffin Lawner has been selected to attend the 4th Annual New York State Public High School Athletic Association Student Leadership Conference in April. The exercise science and injury prevention and health education courses collaborated with the technology department for an innovative virtual reality experience to explore the human body and enhance the understanding of heart rate zones and explore other bodily systems throughout physical activity and virtual reality. This year, the middle school, high school PE staff has implemented FitnessGram, which is a comprehensive fitness assessment tool providing insightful data and while fostering a culture of health and well-being within the department. Additionally, this summer, the PE health educators focused on revamping the 3 through 6th grade health curriculums and developed a new pre-K to 2nd grade health curriculum, which have been implemented throughout the year by our wonderful PE health educators, Ms. Isle, Mr. Shurik, Ms. Doxy, and Mr. Degnan. Looking ahead, we will be expanding our high school health curriculum and exercise science curriculums to include CPR, AED, and first aid certification options in the upcoming school year. With years of experience as an athletic administrator, I realized that providing a great experience for students and athletes comes down to a mix of active listening and precision planning. I'm a firm believer in the power of a great spreadsheet to keep everything on track, from managing detailed inventories to ensuring the curriculum has all the supplies they need to succeed. My focus is on collaborating, learning, and planning on how we use our resources so we can build a smart, sustainable budget for the future. Some of the focal points this year include uniform updates to implement a more efficient cycle of uniform purchasing. As an example, featured here are some of the brand new uniforms for the girls and boys middle school soccer teams, the girls varsity track and field team, not featured but new this year include girls and boys tennis teams, varsity girls badminton, and boys and girls swimming. While working with the Grounds and Facilities Department, we can better assess and develop seasonal plans to maximize our building and field usage while preserving our facilities and playing spaces. The middle school, high school gym has received multiple upgrades and beautification improvements this year, including painting and signage and new wall padding to inspire Bayman pride. Additionally, the middle school, high school gym sound system, basketball basket systems, and bleachers have all recently received maintenance and necessary repairs. The tennis court and varsity baseball fields are also receiving much-needed updates and maintenance soon. And finally, promoting community. Communication, visibility, and convenience has been the goal of the department this year. The OB Athletic web page received a complete remodel this fall, which is oriented towards convenience. It is the goal of the PE Health Service and Athletic Department to make information obtainable in only a few clicks. All schedules, sport offerings, championships, registration information is clearly displayed on the OB Athletic homepage. The Athletic Instagram account continues to serve as a resource to supply game information, upcoming events, and playoff updates quick and in real time whenever possible. Located in the main lobby across from the main office, the television displays important information regarding upcoming registrations for sports, students of the month for PE and health, team photos and accomplishments, upcoming playoffs, and department achievements. We have also had the opportunity to install 2 television sets in the middle school, high school gym, which has enhanced both the physical education experience, as teachers can use them to demonstrate skills, lessons, and objectives during PE classes, and during athletic events, it features important messages, reminders, and motivational messages that are being displayed. This past Friday, on March 6th, the class of 2026, along with Miss Wink and Mr. Sally, held the Oyster Bay Staff Spike-Off Tournament. I must congratulate the class of 2026 on one of the most fun events I think I have been at my career at Oyster Bay so far. The sportsmanship, spirit, and fun was infectious. Students and families from all buildings came to support their teachers, administrators, and staff members as the buildings competed for the OB Faculty Spike-Off Championship Trophy, which went to the middle high school team. Congratulations to all that played, and I cannot wait to see next year's rematch. Although the spring 2026 season is only on day 2, I'd like to take this opportunity to remind our community members, families, and athletes of the start dates for the fall 2026 season as we all begin our summer planning for vacations and whatnot. Football will begin on August 17th. All other varsity and JV fall sports will begin on August 24th, and varsity water sports and middle school fall sports will begin on September 1st. Please keep those dates in mind, especially since varsity and JV sports start prior to the first day of school. The Physical Education Department, Physical Education, Health, and Athletic Department will continue to strive for excellence and by being creative, taking innovative approaches to thinking outside the box to meet the needs of our students and athletes while providing a diverse and challenging environment in which we want to inspire our students and athletes to achieve their personal best and to never give up on their dreams. Thank you.
Thank you. It was an outstanding presentation. Appreciate it, and congratulations again to all our winter athletes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sharon. It was great. So I would like to give the board and the community a quick follow-up from last meeting and some of the updates regarding the budget process. So the first thing that I would like to share with the community is that we have listened to the emails and the questions that we have been receiving, and we have updated the presentations that we have done in the past. As you have seen from the last presentation, was very extensive. The next thing that we are doing right now, in the morning, tomorrow, we will post the line-by-line budget so the entire community can review and analyze and stay informed on what we are proposing to the board. So that would be online, and it would be on the district page. I think there is already a link there, correct, Ms. Raynor, that is listed. So if you have any questions, just email me or call the office or email us. So that's one thing. The second thing is I would like to give the board an update on the JV boys lacrosse and the girls lacrosse for the spring 2026. We have left the registration open all the way to Monday, as I updated at the last meeting. The numbers have not increased. So at this point, in consultation with the athletic director, and obviously she has been talking to the coaches, and after all the publicity that we have done to try to enroll the students in those two teams, we don't have enough to run the teams. So I'm recommending the cancellation of the JV lacrosse boys and JV lacrosse girls for the spring 2026. Due to the Section 8 timeline, I don't have a formal recommendation because we want to wait all the way to the last minute. So I would have a formal recommendation and a resolution at the next board meeting, but I would like to get your approval on us moving forward to notify Section 8 that we are not running those teams. We okay with that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
At this point, if Alex, you can put a presentation up. We have received a question from a community member last week. You can just slide it. So we received several questions last board meeting regarding kindergarten and capital reserve. So we have put a presentation together kind of summarizing and referring back to some of the slides that we had that Ms. Raynor presented last meeting. So I'd like to review those, and if there is any additional questions, I'll be more than happy to answer. So the first question was about how the capital reserve fund be restructured to enhance transparency, and what is the specific purpose and scope compared to the current funds. So the answer to this question is that on the slide 103, which I'll bring it at the next slide, you will see that pretty much the recommendation with the specific language and all the recommendation is going to be similar. It's going to be the reserve is going to be similar to the one that we have right now. So this is the slide, and I put a reference, slide 103 from last meeting. So what is the current recommendation? The recommendation would be to seeking voter authorization to establish a new capital reserve fund. This capital reserve fund would be a maximum funding level not to exceed $25 million. And the other thing is that the recommendation is to have a 15-year terms and not to exceed $2 million to transfer into the reserve. The other question was, we do not anticipate it. We don't anticipate a material change in scope of the one that the current reserve that we have right now. One of the questions that we had in the past was, why not simply extend the one that we have right now? And the answer to that is that this reserve was established in 2006. So the new reserve would allow to reset the scope and purpose of that reserve. And obviously, 20 years ago, some of the requirements, some of the scope has changed. But in general, would be similar in scope to the one that we have right now. What would be the detailed description of the new reserve? So when we create the description of the new reserve, in general, it's similar to the scope that we have right now, but when we bring it, we create the ballot and we put it on the ballot, we will work with the counselor, we're working with the counselor in terms of deciding what is the exact language, and that will be approved at the March 24 meeting. If adopted, then the complete proposition will then be published in the required legal notice. But the scope overall is the same as the one that we have right now. What will be different, again, like I said, there will be no material change. It would just be a reset, and it would be a reset of the old one. I think there were three, updates. There were 3 updates over the years, so this would kind of reset in place. When I simply extend, again, 26 in 2006, the reset, reevaluate the appropriate funding, and align the reserve with the current long-term facility planning. Is the district able to spend the money without approval? I think the answer is no. Every time, even if the money are in the reserve, they need a board action and then voter approval. So, and again, we'll post this presentation online, so if any community member has any question, we can follow up on that. So the establishment of a capital reserve will authorize the creation of the reserve, but in terms of spending the money, that will be we need board action and voter approval. What is the community vote on this May? Would be the authorization of the creation of this reserve, and the use of the money and it would be there are 2 separate things. Obviously, in simple terms, this is almost taking the money from the account that we have right now and put it into a new account with a new scope, a new term. I'll have Ms. Raynor, we can do from there, talk about the other question. That was the 3-part budget was a $8.5 million in administrative, $2.8 million in general support. How many administrators? And is that $8.5 million? What is the legal portion of that? And can we have a breakdown?
Okay, so to go into a few of these items, let's start. I got to start with 2 different things. First would be slide 51, which talks about where that 2 point is. To be able to go back and explain what that is, I'm going to actually go backwards to slide 53, which is a $7.4 million, all talking about this general support. So starting here with slide 51. Slide 51 is what shows that $2.8 million that was asked about at the top under that general support, and at the bottom of that administrative line, you see the sum of all of the administrative parts of the budget add up to the $8.5 million. So to explain where that 2.8 comes from, I really want to look at that entire top line first. So that entire top line is called general support. And if you look all the way to the right side, you can see all of the general support lines do add up to $7.4 million. So in order to talk about that, let's look at slide 53, which has all of the general support in a line-by-line format. So when you see that yellow box right there in the middle, that's what adds up to the $7.4 million. So where does that general support come from is codes like Board of Education, Office of Superintendent, Business Office, Legal, Operations and Facilities, Printing, Data, Insurance, and Admin fees. So all of that $7.4 million is then broken into 3 parts: admin, program, and capital. The majority of the capital, that $4 million you see on this slide, if I go back one, you can see is the capital in that yellow box on the right. There's a little bit of program, which I'll talk about in just a second, but the majority of that general support you see is in that admin line. So the question was specifically what kind of codes they are. So I'll go forward now to the list of them. So these are all the codes. So what they represent is anything from a salary, professional development expenses, registrations, supplies, insurances, and operational services. For every code that would belong to the list you see here. Again, Board of Education has two separate function codes. The superintendent's office has a function code, the business office has several. Then again, there's a portion of the business office that is the capital. Legal, personnel, and public information has several function codes. And again, there's a small portion of those that actually go to the program component. Printing and mailing, data processing, and information systems is split, mostly administrative, but there is a small amount that will go to the program code, and of course, insurance and taxes, sewer charges, and things like that. So these are where all the expenses come from for that $2.8 million. The second part of that question was to talk about the administrators. So the administrators are broken across several of those areas, so I broke it down by that. The administrative staff and general support, which is the administrative component, would be the superintendent of schools, the deputy superintendent, and the executive director for business and finance. The administrative staff and instruction and program component would be the director and assistant director of special services. The administrative staff and pupil personnel, which is also an administrative component, is the supervisor of guidance. And then the majority of our administrators are under curriculum development and supervision, which is an administrative component of our budget. You can see here, it's an executive director for curriculum instruction, directors of health, PE, athletics, director of technology, fine and performing arts, our elementary and secondary curriculum associates, as well as our principals and assistant principals. The next part of this question was regarding the legal expenses. There are 3 lines in our budget that have to do with legal expenses. You see them listed here. One has to do with our general retainer cost, some has to do with special services, and the third one has to do with the bond counsel, which is what takes all the legal with anything relating to borrowing money. So obviously you can see this year, now that we have fully bonded, there is a pretty drastic decrease in that code because we no longer are spending money for counsel since we've already bonded and locked into our 15 years. So you can see here that the costs have gone down. This year's estimated cost is just over $170,000, and the budget is about just over $200,000. So that's within about $35,000. It is important to know, though, legal expenses can fluctuate drastically depending on negotiations at a given time of year, how long contracts last, certain litigation matters, and during the bond work, like I said, it was a little bit higher.
So the other question was the enrollment number for kindergarten, and this is an area where we rely on trying to figure out the enrollment in kindergarten is like sometimes is a big question mark because we don't know the students that are coming in. When we have the enrollment in first grade, they go to second grade, third grade, and so it's an easier projection to make. When you think about kindergarten, it's a little bit more difficult. It's been a little bit easier now because we have a pre-K program in the school, so we are sort of assuming that all the students in pre-K, even though pre-K is not mandatory, they're all going to go to pre-K, to K. But again, in general, kindergarten enrollment could be a big question mark. So we rely on, and we started doing this a couple years ago regarding the BOCES projection. So we ask BOCES to do a projection, and what they do, they're looking at different data that they analyze and surrounding districts and various variables that they analyze, and they give us a projection. So when you look at the next slide, we try to put it in simple terms. In 25-26, the BOCES projection leading to the school year 25-26, the BOCES projection was 82. So I would say sometimes in the spring, more like November 24, 2024, January 2025, BOCES projection, they predicted that we were going to have 82 students. The actual enrollment, the people that enrolled in the school, when we started in September, the actual enrollment with the special classes, which we kept it separate from from the list of classes, because we don't know where some of the students are going with the special needs, in what class they're going to be. But the actual enrollment was 97. So obviously there is a discrepancy there. I believe I want to say to the board is because there is no value for me being the superintendent over here, so maybe that's why the numbers went up. We end up at 97. When they gave us the projection for 26-27 school year, which is starting in September, I'm assuming that they looked at, and again, I'm just speculating on this, they looked at the enrollment that they had in September, October, and they figured, well, we're going to have the same number, so maybe that's the number 98. But I can't really say for sure. What I know for sure is that I have 72 students in pre-K, and they're all very happy, and they're all doing very well. So I'm assuming that all 72 of those students are going to go into kindergarten. Right. So now, right now, even though we modified the registration for the 72 students going from pre-K to kindergarten, they still got to go to a modified registration. So for me to say I will have 72 students, unless they complete the modified registration, I will not know for sure. So as of right now, we have the 72 students in pre-K plus 7 non-UPK registration. So as of right now, we're looking at 79 students going to kindergarten. And again, at the end of the day, kindergarten classes and sections would be very easy to manage because right now we're projecting 5 sections. Let's say in August we end up with not 79, but we end up with, let's say, 70 students going to kindergarten. We will come to the Board of Education and we'll adjust the number of sections that we are predicting. But right now we are predicting 5 sections on that future incoming kindergarten. And I'll have Maureen talk about the funding for UPK.
Thank you. So the question was clarifying the state aid numbers for UPK and how much we receive per student. So first, it is very important to note that UPK is grant funding. It doesn't directly have an impact on like the revenue side of the operating budget. So that's definitely an important piece that we have to consider here. Also, the initial state aid runs come out in January of every year. That is only the governor's proposal. The enacted state aid numbers don't come out until April, and in some years in the past, we've seen they don't come out until after our board adopts it. So generally speaking, there's not a major change between the two, except again, UPK is grant funding, so the formulas that drive that are very, very different. So let's look at the specific numbers. This was slide 33 where this comes from. So some important points here, again, being grant funded. If you look on the left column for UPK, the $692,000 is not based on a projection, but based on a 25-26 school year actual. So if you look from last year's presentations to this year's, those numbers won't match because in January it's a projection, but by the time the new aid runs come out in January, they're not looking projection to projection, they look actual to projection. So that $692,000 is what we actually received, which I'll go into detail in just one second. The $708,000 is what they're projecting us to have, which there was a lot of confusion when the state put these numbers out. There's been a lot of advocacy, which again I'll talk about in one second, but we are getting further guidance on that. So let me talk about the per pupil for 1 second. The last year was presented at $1,021,000, not the $692 I just showed you, because last year we were able to increase our grant funding. So that $1 million came from our original 66.5 students at $5,400 per student, plus an additional grant we were able to apply for and receive of 66 students at $10,000 per student. So it gave us a larger allocation than we obviously would have needed. So what we were able to do is maximize that and grow from half-day programs to 2 full-day programs to now 4 full-day programs because of this extra grant we were able to receive at $10,000 per student. So if you look at our actual numbers for this year, not the projection, we had 72 students enrolled in UPK. So we maximized that 10,000 per student at 66 students at 10,000, which was the 666,000, but the remaining 6 students still only received 5,400 per student. So that's where that 692,000 comes from. That is the actual amount, which is on the side previous, that 1692 right there. So now let me step forward. When I look at the January projection that was released from the state aid runs, I think it was mid-January, it was released at a 708,000. We had a lot of questions, as you know, Zach and I did in talking to other business officials. There was a lot of state level advocacy from our business officials organization, superintendent's organization, school boards associations, all wanted to find out where that number was calculated from. It was using a 2-year calculation of the 5,400, which for us doesn't apply because, again, we got the 10,000 and we have grown our program so much over 3 years, so their estimate won't count. So, but it is what our run said, so that is what I report to the community. The most important thing for us to recognize here is that we do have a 10,000 per kid allocation. So since that January run has come out, we have now recently, very, very recently have found out that we are going to be able to maximize all 72 of our students at the 10,000 per kid. So we are expecting to receive $720,000 this year for our UPK program, but again, as grant monies, not affecting the revenue side of the operating budget.
I think at the end of the day, and I'm just saying this to the board and to the community members listening, I think this was a wonderful, wonderful thing to have, to raise. When I arrived in this district, we had 2 half-day. Right now, we have 4 full day of UPK that 72 parents are benefiting from, and it was a great idea and I thank the board and the community for supporting the bond, but it was a great idea to expand that building, because if we didn't have that building, you will not have 72 kids in UPK. So I hope I answer the questions. And again, we'll post the presentation online, so I'll be more than happy to answer any questions that the board or community member will email. That's the end of my report.
No, thank you, Dr. Yanni, Ms. Reno, for the thorough explanation and presentation. We appreciate it. And that's the end of your superintendent report? Okay, thank you. So now I'd like to move on to the approval of minutes. Do I have a motion to approve meeting minutes as listed and attached below? A second? All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. We'll now move on for the opportunity for the public to be heard on agenda items. In keeping with the philosophy of open communication and informed decision-making, the Board of Education welcomes input from the community. However, it is important to note that while the Board of Education meets in public, it is not a meeting of the public. Respectful input and behavior by each member of the community is appropriate and expected at all times, and it should observe the following rules at the Board of Education meetings. The Board of Education will listen to comments and input from the public. Debate between members of the audience and/or the board members will not be permitted. The board will not address personnel or individual student matters in public. No person shall present orally or discuss at any Board of Education meeting charges or complaints against individual employees, directly or indirectly. The speaker shall identify themselves and confirm their residency in the district on the sign-in sheet. We have no one that is signed in to speak on the agenda items. So we'll now move on for instructional personnel items. Resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, the Board of Education of the Oyster Bay East Norwich Central School District hereby approves the following instructional personnel items as listed in their entirety. Do I have a motion? Do I have a second? Any comments or questions? All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. I'll now move on to approval of non-instructional personnel items. Resolved upon the recommendation of Superintendent of Schools, the Board of Education of the Oyster Bay East Norwich Central School District hereby approves the non-instructional personal items as listed in their entirety. Do I have a motion? Do I have a second? Any questions or comments? All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. We'll now move on to the approval of business items. Resolved upon the recommendation of the Superintendent of Schools, the Board of Education of the Oyster Bay East Norwich Central School District hereby approves the business items as listed in their entirety. Do I have a motion? Do I have a second? Any questions or comments? All in favor?
I just have one question. Ms. Rayner, could you just explain the budget transfer? It's from the teacher retirement to reallocate funds for foundations, classroom set levels?
Yes, there was a new textbook program that came out with a new version, and the company offered a discounted price. If we purchase like a multi-year bundle, we could save a decent amount of money over the 3 years. So we obviously only budgeted for 1 year, but this allows us to get a pretty good deal on this discount to save us money in future years.
Okay. I guess my question was more like, how do you move it from one line item to the other? Like, am I not reading that right? Teacher retirement, employee benefits.
Correct, because the teacher retirement system cost this year came in slightly under than what we projected, so there was extra funds in that.
Oh, okay.
So since there was extra funds because the rates came in slightly lower than projected, we were able to use those funds to get a discount for the textbooks we were looking to purchase.
Oh, okay, great. Great use of funds. Thank you.
Yep, of course.
Thank you. Excuse me, all in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. We'll now move on to special services. Resolved upon the recommendation of the Superintendent of Schools, the Board of Education of the Oyster Bay East Norwich Central School District hereby approves the special services resolutions as listed in their entirety. Do I have a motion? Do I have a second? Any questions? All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. We'll now move on to approval of the new business resolutions. Resolved upon the recommendation of the Superintendent of Schools, the Board of Education of the Oyster Bay East Norwich Central School District hereby approves the new business resolutions as listed in their entirety. Do I have a motion? Do I have a second? Any questions or comments? Dr. Yanni or Ms. Rayner, I just wanted to understand, I see there's a change order for, Servewell Electric. Could you just describe what that's for?
Yes, as in every capital project, there's always some pluses or minuses, some unforeseen conditions. This one was a little bit more of an unforeseen condition at Phase 3 at Vernon, as the main fire alarm system had some troubles that could not be fixed. So the fire alarm panel had to be replaced. It was emergency in nature. Obviously, not having a fire alarm panel could not wait for anything, so we had to get the work done, and this is just cleaning up the money of compensating the electrical contractor for that work.
So we saw 2.6.
It doesn't affect the funds. This was already taken into account for the,
This is taken into-
yes.
Okay.
Accounting-wise, we had already corrected for this. This is just a matter of getting the paperwork, change orders all submitted up to the state, but the accounting of it was already taken care of.
And the work was done? The fire panel
Work
was-
had to get done within 24 hours.
That's most important.
We're still under the same number that we had in terms of savings,
For the bond.
the 2.6, yeah.
Does anybody else have any questions or comments? No? All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. And I'd like to thank Mr. O'Connor for his contribution to the district. We'll now move on to public participation on non-agenda items. Ms. Anne-Marie Longo?
Good evening. Thank you for answering the questions. Again, I guess we're on two different planes with this bond and the capital fund. I guess my question is, I understand you're going to have a presentation and you're going to have everything written down so the community can see it. Where is the open sunshine law discussion between the lawyer, the superintendent, the Board of Education, discussing that so that the community who's invited to your meetings can understand what's changing exactly, where it's changing. Not coming out with a presentation, just my opinion, with a presentation that states the changes. It's my understanding, and what I have been taught, is that every discussion on every single thing that goes on in this school district must be conducted at this meeting, regardless of what it is, except for personnel or children. So I think this is a great thing if you want to change the capital reserve, but I think the discussion of why, what it's going to read, how are you going to move 3-point-something or $2.8 million from a current capital reserve into a new reserve when you only have a $2 million transfer on that reserve? So all those things, all I'm saying is these are the discussions that, in my opinion, and I could be 100% wrong, should be happening in public at these meetings. Not so that we have to wait until the weeks before you're adopting the budget and the capital reserve. So we as a community can understand why you're changing it, and that's the thing. So I'll continue to go back on that, regardless of what it says. Secondly, I still am a little confused with the kindergarten. So in the presentation on page whatever, 100 and whatever, it stated 25, 26 actual kindergarten numbers at 88. For first grade next year, projected the same 88. But in your email to me, and again in this presentation, that number jumped from 88 to 97. So I don't see that in this. I see 88. And so I think I understand where that's going, but if you're including special needs children that are not in any of these classes, where are all those special need kids in all the classes from K to 4th grade? And again, with 72 children, I know for a fact, because I go to pre-K drop-off every day, they were not told that they had to register or semi-register. So do they have to register? Then maybe an email has to go back out. Thought they were automatically registered. And again, regardless of what BOCES says, our numbers have not been anywhere near 98 children. We have 72 children. It was open to everybody, thank you. But that's all we have, and you have 7 people. So again, we're saying that we're going to go from 79 kids, 20 more children are going to register between now and September. If that's fine, we have the room. We have the teachers. I just don't see that. So I appreciate it.
Well, I'll just say one thing, that it was our auditors that recommended that capital fund, that we issue a new capital fund rather than continuing to adopt amendments and extending the current capital fund. So we look to the recommendation of our auditors who audit in compliance with state law, and that is their recommendation. So.
Motion to adjourn. A motion to adjourn the meeting? So moved. A second?
Second.
Thank you, everyone, and have a nice evening.